Saya, and you're listening to Dramas Over Flowers. Welcome back for another Long Yak, our 10th. We start off by answering a listener email about how to get involved in the fandom. Moving on to what we're watching, you can hear our take on nearly all the new shows that have premiered. It's a long list. We talk about The Last Empress, Top Star BAEK, Clean with Passion for Now, Red Moon Blue Sun, also called Children of Nobody, and we take a really fleeting peek at Memories of the Alhambra. We also wrap up our thoughts on departing shows, Where Stars Land, aka Fox Bride Star, TERIUS Behind Me, Beauty Inside, The Smile Has Left Your Eyes, aka 100 Million Stars Fallen from the Sky, and Familiar Wife. Feel free to use the timestamps to navigate the episode. Enjoy! See you on the other side. Hey everyone, this is Saya.
This is Anissa.
And this is Parama. And this is our actual Yak 10. Yay!
And this is the third time we have tried to say hello in a way that didn't mess up.
Yeah, yes, that is true.
Or was it the fourth?
Okay, so
let's not count because apparently we're not so good at counting. Let's just jump in.
We also have not mastered the art of greeting.
No, we have not. It's so we're never going to be professional podcasters, guys. We might as well just
You'd think
accept that.
By the time you get to number 10, you should know how to at least say hello.
Because in truth, this is like our 29th episode of this podcast.
Oh, wow.
Seriously, by now we should have had a little more finesse. What are we doing?
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe they'd like us less if we were more finessey.
Well, yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Let us know.
Yeah.
All right.
Email us, tweet us at Dramas Overflow, and tell us if you want us to get more finesse. Right. Okay, moving on.
Or less.
Or less.
So speaking of emailing us, we recently got a lovely email from Paige, who sent I'm just going to read her email out, and because we thought the question that she asked was something that a lot of fans might be interested in, and it would be good to answer it on the podcast. So Paige says, "Hi there. I recently discovered your podcast and I'm really enjoying it. I live in the States and wish there was more that I knew about how to get involved as a fan. I recently heard on one of your podcasts that one of you volunteers at Viki, and I wondered if you could let me know of any opportunities to get involved writing or freelancing or otherwise as a fan." So thank you for enjoying our podcast, first of all. And Saya, I'm going to bump that over to you because you were the one who volunteers at Viki. So Saya?
Oh, I was on mute. Sorry, I had to unmute myself. I know how to do this, guys. I know how to do this. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, fandom. That's an interesting thing. Starting with Viki, it's pretty easy to get involved with Viki. When you log in, there's a page. When you scroll down to the bottom, it says, contribute to Viki. This is how to get involved in the community. There are two main ways to contribute to Viki. So what happens there is they receive raw videos and they are fan subbed by the community. So videos have to be segmented, which is like a technical thing where the audio is chopped into bits where subtitlers would put their subtitles. So that you can do without any Korean fluency, and you can take tutorials on how to do that, so anyone can do that. The second way to do it to contribute is by subtitling, and that would require either Korean fluency or fluency in another language that is not English. So you could translate from Korean into English or any other language, or from English into a different language, like Spanish or Italian or
Bangla,
Polish or anything. Exactly. There is such a dearth of Bengali subbers. If you can sub Bengali, please do it.
Yeah, Saya got me to do a bit of You're Beautiful, and I did, I think, 3 episodes or 4 episodes, and I just couldn't do. I didn't have time to do any more, but I really regret that. I do think we need more Bengali subbers.
Yeah, man. Oh, I just want one full drama to be subbed in Bengali, something that my mum can watch, and then I can finally watch dramas with her. Yeah. So yeah, that's one way. And also, just to be very sure, we as a podcast don't have any affiliation to any other groups. We're completely independent. but yeah, we do stuff in other places. I think the first thing to do to get involved in like contributing back is to just join a community. There's a few places you can choose. We hang out at Drama Beans. There's Soompi. There's what
My
else is
drama
there?
list.
Oh
My-
yeah, my drama
Which is
list.
one of my favorite places to find recommendations for pretty much any trope that you can think of. Recently, I was looking for best friends to lovers, and they have some amazing recommendations from the community.
So there's a lot more resources like right now than there were even a year or two ago. What else? Oh, even on Reddit, there's like a dedicated subreddit for K-dramas, which is not that active. I think that's not where K-drama fans hang out.
No, not that
Um,
much.
But I think the biggest places are, Viki, Soompi, Drama Beans, my drama list. And then there's a few big growing fan sites, places like Drama Milk, who do live recaps. Hi, friends at Drama Milk. And Twitter, actually. Twitter is a place where just a lot of fans hang out. We hang out there a lot as well.
Yes.
So
There's also Rabbit,
yeah.
where a lot of fans
Oh
will
yeah,
kind of,
Rabbit.
do watch-alongs. Like, if you don't know what Rabbit is, it's a place where you can stream something in a room and like invite other people to watch the same thing that you are at the same time. So it's really fun if you're like there. I know a lot of beanies hang out on the weekends and just like watch things together.
Yeah, they actually have a dedicated calendar for like the shows that they're watching. Like I think right now we're meant to be in the middle of Dalja Spring.
Nice.
And last month was I'm Not a Robot, or was that the month before? And we've watched Shut Up Flower Boy Band. Basically, they have already a fully pre-planned calendar, and it's great. Oh, Because This Life Is Our First was one of the recent rewatches they did. So when they have those, you have people who are watching for the first time, you have people who are rewatching. It's really fun. The downside of Rabbit is that I think the app is a bit glitchy right now because they've been doing like weird upgrades and things that doesn't seem like everybody likes. And also like the chat doesn't archive, or it moves really fast in a way where you can't sort of go back to like yesterday's chat or something and find things. You're always in the moment with it. So but yeah, Rabbit's fun. There are other opportunities, for example, if you want to write stuff, like if you want to write articles or essays. Drama Beans runs a monthly theme of the month feature, which takes a topic, like just any topic from something about dramas, and fans can write in with their own essays and their own thoughts on the subject, and that's a really good way to see your work published right away. And then places like my drama list, they had quite a recent recruitment for writers, and most of these are voluntary. Very little of it is paid. This is all a by fans for fans, running on love kind of thing. What else is there?
I think that's a good place to start. I think you offered a lot of really good information.
It all depends on like where you find your crowd, and you might not find it on my drama list. You might not find it on Twitter. Like you just have to be patient and read other people's stuff and see where else they hang out. And to be honest, if you're a newbie, Drama Beans is the best place because beanies are really welcoming. And if you follow their weekly open thread, that's the best place to find new friends. Just introduce yourself and start talking dramas, and other people will find you. You can post on your wall there if you have a registered account, and once you find friends there, you can find them on other social media as well. So there is that, and that's your tribe then.
And it's a step up from Oppa Wars, and it's can actually talk about stuff in detail in a thoughtful way with other people who are thinking along the same lines as you and who will take your fandom as seriously as you take it.
That's true.
So you'll find your people. And the other great thing that happens when you find your people is that you start having ideas of your own. You bounce them off each other. You start doing things. We've got a beanie friend, who has started doing K-pop covers. One of them is in one country, one of them is in another. It's like, wait, are they? Did I just make that part up?
No, they are.
No, they are in different countries. and they're doing musical collaborations. So you can. It's all about how what kind of ideas you have and what you can bring to the table. You can find people who have the same interests and do your own thing.
But before we move on from this topic, I just want to put in a slight plug for our Twitter hashtag for the month, which is December Dramas.
Yes.
We are doing one tweet reviews for all the dramas that we have watched throughout the year, and we have had so many of our friends on Twitter tweeting with us. I mean, they have been tweeting way more than us on the hashtag, and it's been,
And in a way superior manner.
oh god, yeah.
I'm so excited.
I'm just gonna sit back and watch. I have nothing to say.
Yeah.
Everyone else is
No, like we started this last December.
by accident.
And it was like, we were like, what should we do at the end of the year? And then we were like, let's just do like one tweet reviews because we didn't have time to do like a massive, year-end podcast. And it ended up like, it was just a few of us, but then by the end of the month, like a lot of other people joined. But like, I'm so excited to see how many people are tweeting already. It's only been like one day. It's very, very exciting.
Yeah, I know. And it's hilarious, some of the tweets. I mean, it just, yeah.
They're great.
Yeah.
Go and check out the hashtag December Dramas tag on Twitter because there's a wealth of lovely reviews.
And join in if you
Yes,
want
we
to.
will retweet you. Just put in the hashtag and we'll find you and retweet you.
Yes, we love reading these. These are some amazing
They're so great.
reviews.
Yeah.
So on that note, and
Yes.
and fan interaction and support, take it away for
Oh my god, yes! Thank you, patrons. We have 5 new patrons. This is so unbelievable. The moment we had that notification, like you have like an email notification on your phone, and I have mine on for our email, which is starsinOurPocket@gmail.com. Wow, I'm getting pretty good at this plugging thing. For our podcast. And I got the notification, and I was chatting with Saya on Hangout, and we were talking about something else, and in the middle of like she was still typing her response to what I said, and in the middle I started like caps lock
In the
screaming
middle, she
at
had a
her.
heart attack.
Oh my god! I was screaming. I was verbally screaming, and I was screaming into the computer. I was like, Saya, did you see? We got our first patron. Why?
So
Why
excited.
would anybody give us money? Like who? Why do they even care? But yeah,
It's really, we appreciate it so much. Thank you so much. We were just like
And it's
spazzing
hilarious.
and like making high pitched noises for a while.
It's funny because basically when we were launching this, I remember Burma saying, basically this is just going to be like tumbleweed for 6 months, and maybe we'll be lucky if someone signs up with $1. And like we would have been super happy for that. So to have 5 patrons in just the first month, that's like, wow, guys.
yeah.
That's,
Yeah. We're really, really beyond moved and touched and delighted.
So we just want to give a shout out to our first 5 patrons. All of you are so amazing, guys. Thank you for supporting us. This is so amazing. We actually have patrons on all 3 of our tiers, which is so cool. We get to give out. Well, do we have amazing benefits? We don't, but
we
whatever.
will after
But
this.
we it's okay kind of benefits, and we get to give them out to Elizabeth G, Stephen B, Lia W, Alice W, and Hades. So yeah, there you are. Those are our patrons, and we are super, super thankful and surprised. We are so surprised.
I'm not sure if it's more amazing to have names we recognize or to have names we don't recognize, because like a couple of these are our friends from other fandoms,
Yeah.
and a couple of these are people we had no idea who were listening to us and existed, and it's like I'm not sure which is more mind-blowing. Both of them are like
I
super
think,
mind-blowing.
yeah, both of them are mind blowing because I don't know anybody I know in my personal life who would put in a single dollar to help me out, like in the whole podcast thing. But like friends on the internet are like way more supportive and trusting apparently. So
We love you
We
guys.
love
Ah.
you.
yeah, we do.
Okay, so I think that we should now segue to the
Yeah, moving on with less screaming, we have to cover are currently airing, and there are some good ones. We didn't think that December would bring a lot of like there were some good shows we were looking forward to when we were covering upcomings in the last month's podcast, but I don't think any of us was like super pumped about any particular drama. Or were you guys looking forward to any particular one?
I actually was, but the weird thing is that all of the ones that I picked up were the ones that I did not intend to watch at all.
Yeah, me too. Pretty much same here.
Yeah. and I haven't started the ones that I did intend to watch.
Yeah. Okay,
So-
again, same here. For instance, I did not intend to start watching Top Star UBEC, which I did just because the premise was funny. I needed to watch it. And also Clean with Passion for now. Was not expecting to like it or start it, but I did, and we will get to it. But first, let's talk about The Last Empress.
Okay.
Oh, are you watching this?
Yes, I'm watching this.
I just looked at the list and realized that you are. I'm one episode behind, by the way. So 4 episodes have aired at this point, but I am 1 episode behind.
So am I. I
So-
will just watch till episode 3.
Okay. This show is nuts. I love it.
Oh my god.
So what's like the basic one-line premise? Because I don't remember.
Sai, you want to take that?
I actually was hoping you would, because
Oh, okay.
I think
I-
one-line
I-
premises are not my forte.
One line. Wow, you guys do not know me well, but if you expect me to do this in one line, but I'm gonna give this a shot. Okay, let's see. So you have this generic Candy character, which is played by Jang Narab. She's a singing stage theater woman. I'm sorry, that sounds bad.
She's a musical actress.
She's a musical actress. That's what she is. Right.
And it's and it's set in this fictional career with a constitutional monarchy.
Okay.
Right.
Where
It's a lot like King to Heart.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have
except
Lee
more
Hyuk,
Baekhyun.
right? Which is like Shin Sang-rok acting as the the emperor. He's acting as the emperor.
Emperor. So
And
if you're not familiar with this guy, this is You from Another
Right.
Star.
The villain.
How is your health? And his twisty nail
Right.
ring.
So
this
is he
guy.
like the male lead in this?
no,
Well,
no.
he's the villain, I think.
Oh.
One of the villains. The thing is, everyone's a villain. This is great.
It's kind of amazing because
Absolutely insane.
yeah, like you right now you actually root a bit for the villains. I think the villains have been drawn really
Yeah.
compellingly. But hey, let me finish the premise. My
Sorry.
sentence is undone. So okay, so Osani, who's the Candy character, she is poor, hardworking, sings and acts well, but doesn't get enough
But a bit of a
opportunities.
failure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but she's super optimistic and sunshine and rainbows. That's your typical heroine. You guys can tell how I feel about this right now. But she accidentally gets into the emperor's ambit. The emperor is involved in something where he needs a cover and he uses her, and she ends up becoming the next empress, sort of.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Although
but
we haven't quite got
no,
to
we
that
haven't
point
got
in
to that point yet. But this is like in the basic synopsis, like everybody knows this.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Sunny's position for the next Empress situation. But where does Choi Jin-hyuk come in, right? Like, we know he exists. So he is a man with a vendetta. Something happens and he comes in for revenge. But before he comes in...
It's Taehang-ho. It's if you guys watched Walk of Love or what's it called, Live Up to Your Name, Taehang-ho, who is the guy with the curly hair, solid build, so he's like pre-transformation Choi Jin-hyuk.
And if you guys have seen him in anything else before, you know how cheerful
He's
and
good.
like
He's
super
really
super
good.
smiley he is. But in the first 2 episodes of The Last Empress, this guy is savage. My God, he's got a temper, and his character is supposed to be someone who's like really strong, and he's like really built up, and it just he's angry constantly, pretty much. And yeah, so this guy has something horrible happen to him, and then he magically transforms into Choi Jin-hyuk.
Choi Jin-hyuk.
So what's the crazy thing about this drama? Because you guys are saying it's so crazy.
So the person we haven't mentioned yet is the second lead female, who is the Emperor's like PA, secret love interest, and she's insane but brilliant and manipulative and mad, and also I think impelled by genuine emotion for the Emperor. But she's super manipulative. Like she engineers everything to make things work out a certain way for her. Like
Yeah, but she's like a part survivor, part ambitious.
Right. As in, that's what's so great about her. It's like you don't quite hate her, you really admire her. And also I feel like her emotions are actually real. She really does love the Emperor.
But,
she just like the way that she goes about getting what she wants is dubious.
yeah, dubious is
But
one word.
she's the one who's got connections to everyone. So she's connected to the Cho Jin-hyuk character. They have a past. It's not actually quite clear at this point what exactly their relationship is, but
It's pretty clear what the relationship is. They grew up together and they are in a relationship, like a romantic
are they
relationship.
though?
Oh,
I didn't
definitely.
get that.
He called like right in the first episode. He told her that I can tolerate everything, but not my girlfriend cheating on me. So
Oh, did he say that?
yeah,
But
he said
then
that when there was.
that kid is
We do not know whose kid
isn't
that
that
is.
her
Though.
kid?
Yeah, it's her kid, but we don't know if it's
But
his
the
kid.
kid calls him Hyung.
Exactly, which is why
So
I don't
isn't that
think
weird?
it's not
That's why I don't
necessarily.
understand the relationship.
Look, it's perfectly possible she had the kid with someone else and they are in a relationship now.
But even so, wouldn't he call him like Ajushi or something rather than Hyung? Why
Not
is it like a brother relationship?
necessarily.
But maybe-
Sometimes those blur depending on the age of.
Oh no, wait, no. She was adopted from an orphanage, right? And she was raised by his mom, so she called. Oh right, okay. I think rather than them being an actual couple, he assumes they're a couple, whereas she is not really that into it.
So, which is why I was actually rooting for her to get away from him because he not only
Yeah,
seemed
exactly. I actually
super
found that really disturbing.
violent, yeah, and it felt
Yeah,
like a
and
situation
possessive
super possessive
in an obsessive way.
in a bad obsessive way, and her
Yeah.
adoptive mother was also putting emotional pressure on her to stay with the guy. I don't know what the past with the child is, where the child comes from, and all of that stuff. And it's perfectly possible that she's always been a manipulative person. It doesn't matter, no matter how manipulative she is, she should not be forced to stay in a relationship she clearly does not
No,
want to stay in.
absolutely. Yeah.
So, which is why I was actually when that thing. So there is a murder at one point of one of the characters, and this woman is
It's an
sort of.
accident.
Well, I'm gonna let's call it dubious.
Okay, yeah, let's call it a murder. Yeah.
And she's sort of kind of involved, and the thing is the I don't know, I didn't actually feel bad for the person who got murdered because simply because of the way this woman Elijah's character Minura was being was in a position, like what she was doing was manipulative. Okay, manipulative is not
But the
like good
reasons she
enough.
was doing it were not wrong. Right.
They were not necessarily wrong. And also, the reason I was rooting for Yura in the first 2 episodes was because she was going right up against our predominant big baddie, which
the
is
other villain.
yeah, the Dowager Empress, who is, my God, that woman is evil.
Definition of evil.
And she is the level of evil where she has and I think it's not a spoiler to just, I mean, it might be a spoiler but mild one. She puts in closed circuit cameras in her son's, not just his room, but it's in his bathroom. He watches her, she watches him constantly. It's eerie and
in a really creepy way.
Super creepy way.
Oh, and she's played by Shin Kyung, who's like incredible in everything. She's such a good actor.
My God, she's so far she's
scary.
She is doing amazing at being scary. So when Minura goes up against her, because everything she's doing with the Emperor, like I don't know if she's propelled by love or ambition, but the point is that she is sort of challenging the Empress, right? And nobody in the nation.
And she's punished for it.
Well, yes, exactly. She's punished for it, but she is clever enough to get herself out of situations where she can, like, she knows how to survive. Is my point. And yes, I mean,
I kind of love her.
Yeah, I do too. So far, she is a much more compelling character than our other female. Our other female protagonist.
I want to see Jang Nara's character get this dark
treatment. Yeah,
because this is a great character.
Exactly. She actually has a nuanced, she has nuanced motives. What does Jang Nara's character have?
She does terrible things, but you understand why. Whereas I guess we just haven't really seen either of those two yet. Like we haven't seen. We've seen Cho Jin-hyuk's pre-transformation character, but we haven't seen actual Cho Jin-hyuk, and we haven't seen Jang Nara really like understanding their place on the board yet.
No, and
because this is like. Yes, this is super Makjangchis.
Oh my God, so much so. But and the best thing was, I loved how they opened the drama where there is a murder and now you don't know who's been murdered, and then they just jump back a year and you're like, wait, who got murdered? Who got murdered at the end of this drama? Somebody was murdered. It's great. But the trouble that I'm having with this drama is that I'm finding all the evil characters super compelling, but our
And the good ones not so. I think part of that is just because it's setting up the world for them to begin playing in, and because they've just been introduced into that world, we haven't seen it yet. Hopefully we'll see it, and hopefully they'll be complex and interesting.
So
Yeah,
But,
to be fair though,
yeah.
I mean the high stake players in this game are people who are already used to a world of strategizing, even when they are like going from their bathroom to their bedroom. It's
so it's basically a modern saga, right? With
yeah,
the court
it is
politics.
because they even just wear all like the women wear handbooks and sort of fusion handbooks, and you have it just even the speech is
I
very
think it's got
old.
all the trappings of sort of old-fashioned royalty, but it's in a hyper-modern world with all of the resources of that world at your disposal.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, like for instance, like social media plays an active part in what makes Osanhi end up becoming sort of the prospective next empress. And the trouble though I'm having, so on the one hand, it's perfectly understandable why both Osani and Nawangshik, which is Che Jin Hyuk's character's name, Nawangshik, are both sort of naive and simpler characters than our evildoers, because they are not constantly being sort of thrust into political intrigue. They are not used to that life. And now these two people who have had pretty straightforward, simple lives are suddenly going to be thrust into this world of political intrigue.
All right. So it sounds pretty nuts. And I was looking at the page of the writer, and she wrote like Temptation of Wife and Temptation of an Angel, which, if you haven't heard, are like extremely famous for being crazy mahjong dramas that just like go all over the place. So, but like, would you recommend this drama? Do you think you're gonna keep watching it?
I certainly am. I don't know if I would recommend it sort of wholesale, but if you're up for some wily wiles and people being completely crazy and not necessarily likable, yet it being very addictive, give it a shot. The only concern I would have is that these types of dramas tend to be really good in the first half, and then the second half starts getting, I don't know. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. But we will certainly update everyone next month.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll still be watching this.
I'm probably gonna watch it to the end.
Okay.
Yeah. So, the next one is Top Star You BAEK, which
Yes.
I don't think either of us thought we were going to be watching, Anisa.
Didn't
but
both of you
yeah.
say
I
you were
mean,
gonna be watching
last
this?
month, yeah, we
we
did say that we were
started-
looking forward to it. I know I was saying that
Well-
it looked like a fun sort of watch just because of the cast.
Yeah. Yeah, but the thing is, honestly, I don't think that I was looking forward to it. I thought maybe I'll see what other people are saying about it, but I wasn't
Okay.
too. It was primarily for the lead though that I wasn't too keen. Because what's his name?
You don't like Kim Ji-suk?
Kim Ji-suk, right? It's not that I don't like him. I'm very used to him as a secondary character, and there is a particular type of character that he always plays when he used to do the secondary characters. He hasn't done that since 20th Century Boy and Girl, which by the way was a really good drama. I watched, like, I didn't watch much. I think I just watched 2 episodes of it and then read recaps. But
Yeah, that was one of those that like I was planning to watch, and then I got so busy and it kind of passed
there are
by.
so many dramas, guys.
I
Yeah,
know.
limited number of hours in a day.
Yeah.
But this one though, I think I can actually keep watching because I think I watched the first 2 episodes, and I liked it. I was not expecting again, what's his name, Kim Ji-suk to look like, what do they do? Is it the makeup? What is it a particular a type of exercise that they do to I don't know, get a particular
Get buff?
shape of jaw or something? Yeah, I mean, what is it?
Does
He
he have
suddenly
cheekbones
looks like
now or
a
something?
he has yeah, exactly, he has cheekbones,
He
and
suddenly looks like a leading
you would
A-lister.
as you would find out in the very first episode, he has abs and he's not afraid to show them
Oh,
to
no,
everyone.
it's a trope. Him showing his abs is like it's like almost like a running joke in the drama.
Oh my god, yeah, and it lands really, really well. Look, he's always been a character who does emotions really well. I've really liked him in Sassy Gogo, and I've liked him in some of the other dramas as well, though they don't instantly come to my mind, where he's done not so pleasant characters, and he's done a few of them. But
Yeah, like in personal
Like,
taste.
hey, wasn't he like cheating somebody in Oh
Miss
again?
Young, another Miss Young, another Miss Yo. Oh,
Oh
shit.
again,
What am
yeah,
I even
yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Oh Young again.
And he was also in personal taste, like way back in the day. Remember the like unpleasant
Oh, oh my God,
honeymooning
yeah,
couple who like kicks her out of her house? Yeah.
yeah.
He's just really
Exactly.
good at being slimy. But I think he's
He's
also
super good and I think like that is part of the reason I still have memories of him being slimy and that I can't quite take him seriously when at least on paper I couldn't take him seriously as a lead actor because I was like, but he's too slimy to be leading a drama. But then of course, I mean, it all depends on how a drama is directed and written, and here Ubek's character is so narcissistic. His head is so swollen
He
and
does
he
have
is
great
just
comedic timing.
Oh, yeah, he does. He does. He does. But and also, I have to say, it's not the reason I'm gonna continue watching it is because of Jeon So Min, Jeon So Min's character, Oh Kang Soon. She. I do not know what accent she is doing. I do not have enough knowledge of the Korean language. I have barely any knowledge of the Korean language. But you can tell how thick the accent is, and she's clearly really good at it.
yeah.
And I have heard her interviews, so I know that she does not speak like that. So it always amazes me when an actress really sinks into an accent. And like you've seen actors and actresses do saturi a lot. That's what the Busan accent is called, right? Saturi.
Yeah.
Any regional
Saturi
accent.
is like a regional accent, yeah. It can be
A
from
regional
any part of it.
dialect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, they just call it Busan accent. Yeah, we've seen a lot of actors do the Busan accent. That seems to be one of the easiest accent for them to do. I mean,
I don't know if easy is the word, but maybe the most common.
It's more
most
popular.
common, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
but
it's a large city with a
I
big
don't know what
population.
language she's speaking. It sounds like a totally different language, and she is so cheerful and grinning, but not a pushover at all. And none of the characters on the island is a pushover. I love it. I love how they keep calling Ubek Top Star, like that's his name. Nobody can remember his actual name. And they treat him like they would treat just any guest on their island, and he has to accommodate them instead of them accommodating him, and he's not used to that at all. And he was promised a stay at a resort. He is running away from a scandal, so his agent had told him, oh, go and stay at this beach resort, and then they just strand him on the island and the boat goes away and won't come back for 2 weeks.
That actually
So
sounds really funny.
Him waiting on the like rocky shore with his sunglasses and his like suitcases, just like, and no one comes. It's just so great. So I also watched 2 episodes, and I agree, it's like really fun. I was a little bit thrown off at first of its like it has a really over the top kind of comedic tone, but once you get used to it, I actually was looking forward to it the most for the casting because I actually really love Kim Ji-suk, and I really liked him, and I've seen him in a couple of movies as well. So like I know how good of an actor he is and how he can be like really sincere and but also slimy, which I think is really perfect for this role because he is a jerk and he's awful and slimy in the beginning. So I'm very much have faith in him that he's going to pull off the transformation that I'm sure he's going to have because he's the hero. So he can't
yeah, I think
fail.
he's already doing it though. He's
He
already
is.
looking at everybody with like, especially John Sumin with sort of like, I don't know, soapy eyes.
Yeah, and Jun So-min was in she was in 1% of Anything, like the new version in
That's
2016.
where I've seen
And
her.
she's
Oh, her
really
face looks
good.
so familiar.
Yeah, she had that line that like has kind of become sort of a universal line that people say, where she was like, if they're handsome, they're always a buzz. That was one.
Oh, was that from that?
Yeah, it's from yeah, because she's like talking about her like her like oppa or whatever, her K-pop crush, and he's like, the hero's like, he's younger than you. She's like, if they're handsome, they're all oppas. He's like, okay, but she's really really good. And you're right, like she at first I was like, oh no, it's gonna be like this candy pushover, and she's like from the countryside, and she's naive, and she doesn't know what the internet is, but she doesn't take any garbage from him. She really like gives as good as she gets. So I like that too. And he also has some kind of secret trauma or like pain in his past. Like we've seen him cry twice or 3 times already in
Yeah.
episode 2. which normally at first I was like, oh, really? Like, can't he just be a jerk that's shallow and a star? But I think that they might be doing something interesting about tying that into his life as an idol, which could be more interesting than the normal, like, here's this really rich and successful guy, but he has a secret pain in his heart, and the heroine is going to help him heal it. So I think it might be more interesting than I was thinking at first.
Yeah. I mean, while she's healing him, she's probably going to be punching him a lot, so it's fine. I'm good.
Yeah,
It's
and
a
also, like,
pretty balanced drama.
yeah, and he seems to be falling for her already, and she, like, has no time in her day for him.
Oh my God, she has an oppa, and she's like, I have no time for you, or my heart only beats for my
Yes!
oppa. And
He's hung up! And he's
Oh my
like,
God.
is amazing, and he's like so adorable in his little uniform and his pirate
Oh my
outfit. It's
God.
so ridiculous.
I love it. I love it. I love this whole dynamic. But you know, the best thing about this drama, the thing that sort of made me want to watch more, we've seen heartwarming sort of dramas where almost all characters are good-hearted people with the best intention and all of that stuff. But you would think that a drama like this, where you are on an isolated island where everybody is still just, it's a throwback to the 80s. Um, you would think that it would be, I don't know, a bit of a fantasy where none of the regular rules of life would apply. But that's not it. In very subtle ways, they do talk about how the town being isolated is sort of like a preference. It's a time, sorry, the island. Like the townspeople who remain there are people who really want their way of life preserved, but the one who didn't want this way of life, like the ones who wanted internet, the ones who wanted like to be able to earn more, they all up and left the island. So the guy, who's I think there, what is he? The town, what do they call it?
village
The head.
Yeah.
The village head. Yeah. Who's being played by Ihambi, and who's like everybody's father.
He's hilarious.
He's
Yeah, he's awesome. So he talks about that. He just in passing he says we just 50 people left now because the rest of them didn't want this life.
Yeah, and it's like, the dynamics of the town are very realistic in the sense that, like, it's mostly old people. There's only one kid in the school.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They practically have no young people, and also like the poverty is not romanticized. Like there are these two elderly sisters, I think, who were carrying like this whole this drum full of what do you call it, dung cakes, right? And they were sort of balancing it on their heads
Yeah.
while walking together. Like it was hilarious. The impression of that was hilarious, but it just it's dung cakes. You cannot romanticize dung cakes. You know what I mean? I like that they're not trying to somehow gloss over the hardships that they go through.
Did you either of you watch The Vineyard Man? It was Yunanhe and who was the male lead? I can't remember his something. But it was an older show from maybe like 10 years ago. But it was a similar setup where like she's actually a fashion designer and she has some kind of something happens where she ends up leaving and going to the countryside because like her career basically fails because I don't know, like a senior designer steals her design but then she's like this really spoiled, like she's always wearing heels and then she goes to this farm to a vineyard basically and she just has to work there. I think her grandfather's there or something, and Oman Sak is the male lead, and he's just like this country dude. She's like not impressed with him at all. He's like older than her, and she just hates him, and she ends up in like these horrible situations. Like there's one really memorable scene where like she's out in the country and she can't find a bathroom, and she's like looking for a bathroom. She's like can't find anything, like not even an outhouse. She's like goes in the middle of a field and like has to go to the bathroom, and you like kind of hate her at that point. Yunanhe does a really good job of just being like the spoiled brat, and it's just really hilarious. And then it ends up being like a really nice love story. And it also is I think they did a really good job in that as well of like showing the actual struggles that would occur on a vineyard like this and like showing the daily life and how like she kind of changes so it really reminds me a lot of that.
Yeah.
And Oman Sak is like so good. He is so good, and I just really like him in everything, but he was really, really good in that.
It's funny that you kind of mention this now because, like, literally last night, my parents and I were talking about this because my dad just came back from Bangladesh, and he was like talking about, you know, when you go to the village, and how it's unrecognizable now. And he was reminiscing about a story of when they were kids, and I think two of his friends, and they would have been like less than 10 at the time. They snuck onto a train to Dhaka, the capital city, and you know, back then it was. I mean, you're talking like, I don't know, 40, maybe 50 years ago, something like that. And these are like little stowaway kids, tiny kids who've stowed away on a train, which is like ridiculously brave
Yeah.
and foolish. Um, and then they were like, you know, they said they got there and they're like, there are only mosques here. There's nowhere for us to like stay, because for them in the village the only actual building was the mosque. Everything else, all of the houses, they were not like buildings. They were, you know, they weren't even tin houses. You know, tin is actually really new. They were like made of like leaves and certain fibers and things like that.
Oh,
So they got there and they were like, there's this place which is all buildings. So they thought all of the buildings were mosques, because in their idea, in their mind,
wow.
if it's a building, it's a mosque. So then they stayed on the train and they came right back home. So the thing that we were discussing, and you know, I remember this from my own childhood visits to Bangladesh, is that, you know, we would summer as kids. We summered in Bangladesh, and you'd go back to the village, and this is when my grandparents were alive, and these were villages that didn't have electricity. They didn't have electricity. They didn't have running water, and like they didn't have the amenities that we take for granted. Even, you know, in the city now, that you take it for granted. But the interesting thing is that in the I guess it's not even 20 years. It's like 15 years. In the last 15 years or so, everything has changed. Like the village as it was, it no longer exists. Like what you're saying about preserving that way of life.
Yeah.
Like it's the price of rapid industrialization that you lose a certain way of life. But then at the same time, you know, like you're saying about the poverty and the difficulty of life, those things are not romantic. Why shouldn't they change? Like our nostalgia can't be at the expense of people's lives getting easier, even if you lose all of that kind of thing. So I just find that a really interesting thing to think about.
Yeah, and there's a lot of moments like that where, like, for example, like they have electricity, but then it's kind of frozen in time in like the 80s because the heroine's parents died when she was 2. She's been raised by her grandma and like all these other old people. So all the music she listens to is from that era because she just has like the tapes that her mom left behind. And, you know, she has to take a bath in this like giant kimchi making tub. He's like, I'm not a kimchi. Like, why are you making it? I have to soak myself in here. But she's like, this is how we take a bath. And I'm like so fascinated by some
But does she come out smelling of kimchi?
He doesn't. No, it's their bathtub, but it's just his like stereotypes.
His conception of what it is, right?
But like, and there's moments where she's like staring at him, like, oh my gosh, and like awe and amazement. She's like, this is the most amazing thing, and he's like, yeah, look at my arm. And he like rolls up his sleeve, or like he's like showing off his abs. But she's fascinated with like his electric toothbrush, or like she's like, I've never seen underpants like that before. And he's like, don't look at my underpants. That's really great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely gonna keep watching. It's really fun, and it's like a low stress drama with heart. Nice.
It's one of those things I really enjoy seeing in K-dramas, is that, you know, when you see that really rural, basic way of life, the fact that that still exists is kind of, I don't want to say reassuring, but like, it's nice to know that people are still able to live without all of the sort of I don't know what the right way is to say this. It's nice to know that everything isn't infected by sort of 21st century speed, I guess.
And
that people can still live slowly.
Yeah, and I mean, they make a point of saying that there's no TV and no internet on the island, and like cell phones don't work.
And also like very limited medical facilities.
Yeah.
Like there are 2 doctors, but they are kind of like, there's only so much that they can do. They are almost
doctor,
like,
actually, isn't it?
I thought there was like, I know that there was a female doctor, and wasn't there like the guy she's interested in? Isn't that another doctor?
No, he's the teacher. No? He's the elementary school. He's the teacher. They're in the same building, and she's like always watching him while he's
Right.
teaching.
So there's one doctor, yeah. And she has like the most morbid sense of humor. Like Yubek goes to her hospital with like I think a fractured foot or something, and she's like, "Well, this will have to be amputated." So
I actually really like her. So I think she's great.
yeah,
It's just like really obvious crush on the teacher, and it's like so tragic and hilarious.
yeah, they're all adorable. It's all really nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna keep watching that.
yes. Okay.
And now,
Moving
clean
swiftly
with
up.
passion for now.
Oh, I'm very curious about this because we were so like, oh, we're not gonna watch this. This is gonna be horrible. It's so problematic. And both of you were like, I love this.
But you know what? We should address why we thought it was going to be problematic. Just
Mhm.
because the drama deserves to get credit for not following through, following down on that path, the path that we were worried about, and
The
we
radio
were
romance
worried
path.
the radio romance path, where they are trying to make someone very young act older than her age, and someone much older. I don't.
But
I
also,
just
she's a character who was preyed upon. Like,
yeah,
Kim Yo's
regularly.
character. She was, she was just, she wasn't good. But what you've got here with Kim Yo Jong is that her character is a sort of a take no prisoners type of character. So she might be younger and she might be poorer, but she's not going to be taken advantage of just like that. And she's wise to, she's not naive and she's not unnecessarily foolish in that wide-eyed way that they like.
Yeah, she does not
making.
give off candy vibes at
Yeah.
all,
She
and
has
I
a really
like that
mature vibe.
she does, and like she has moments where she embarrasses herself and she will not leave her room because she's so embarrassed.
We are all embarrassed for her.
Yes, we are all embarrassed for her. But it's like, but she's a her character is someone who's just graduated, right? And she's studying for her what is she studying for?
And she's still in student debt, and she's trying to sort of get herself onto the career ladder, which is of course impossible unless you've got
Civil
a billion
service.
specs.
Like
Yeah.
she's
studying
for
for the civil service
exam.
exam. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. So, and you can like, she does part-time jobs and stuff, and she hasn't got like a full-time employment yet. Someone that she has a crush on has a full-time employment, and she's part jealous, part worried, and it's such a it's something that you would associate with someone of her age. Like, it's not that she's unemployed because she's inept or life has been horrible to her, which is something that
She's just
candies often
competing
have.
with everyone else in her sort of cohort.
Exactly.
Who have specs, sort of sky high specs, and speak 6 languages, and she's like, she just about put herself through college, and the best thing that she's got going for her is her enthusiasm, like her passion. That's her sort of number one spec, and everything else is, if you're competing against these hotshots, she's trying to get into sort of blue chip companies. So that's the kind of thing. Yeah, it's very like life appropriate, age appropriate conflicts.
So how old is her character? Like 22, 23?
I'd say probably something like that.
Yeah, 23, 24,
just
not more
fresh
than
out
that.
of college. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so in real life, she's about 20, right?
20, yeah, about 20.
Okay.
But they also, like, what they don't do is they don't put her into these compromising situations, which is one of the things that really bothered me in Radio Rumor. And there is a point where she is being used by one of the characters.
Yeah.
But the moment she realizes it, it's like, game over. You can't mess with this girl. You can try, but if she finds you out, it's,
Exactly. So she can stand up for herself. She does not need a knight in shining armor to come and solve the problems of her life. That is not her issue. So, where now we come to our hero, which is Yoon Kyung Sung, right? That's the name.
Yeah, we weren't too excited about him, as I recall.
No, we last saw him in
Doubtful Victory for me. I think Pinocchio for you.
Yeah, it was Doctors for me.
Oh yeah, Doctors. Yeah, that's right. Very unmemorable, as you can see.
he was sort of like, his character didn't actually have much to do with arc, was pretty limited. But it's just that he I think he does a credible job with the character he's given here. And the thing is that right now he's not doing anything that I would say that, hey, if we replace this actor with another actor, then the
They
whole
can do
character would
equally well.
change.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think any other
Except
generic
he's really
Korean
tall.
drama
I
lead
don't
would
think
do
anyone else
exactly.
could be as tall as him.
Oh yeah, I guess he
That's
has
the
that
one
going
thing he
for him.
brings that's an individual trait is his tallness.
But like he's so big, but he's got this baby face.
He does, however, he has a super baby face. It's very cute. If not for the sort of the resentment that we already harbor for someone who really wanted to do this role who couldn't, we might not be so hard on him at this point.
That said, though, I don't know if Anyosub would have done this. Like actually, a really good point. I think Jun Kyun-sang brings more gravity to this character than Anyosub could have.
I agree that this character needed to be older than An Hyun-sub clearly is. Like An Hyun-sub is how old? He can't be more than his mid-20s, right?
22, 3, maybe something like that.
Okay,
He
he can't be more than mid-20s is my point. Whereas this character is clearly someone who's at least close to 30, right? I don't know how old his character is supposed to be here, but he's someone who's on the other end of the 20s. So he's sort of, his lived experiences are more than the heroines. That's a given. But on the other hand, it's also because he's older, just like in I'm Not a Robot. Because the character is someone who's mature and whom you would expect to have like lots of social skills, etc. You don't expect someone of his age to become, for instance, super attached to a vacuum cleaner, and
as others have done before him.
Exactly.
That's hilarious. That was not the common thread I was expecting.
Well, he's older, but he's also like his age is offset by how vulnerable he is.
But I
So-
think it's particularly his vulnerability is more poignant because of his age. Like if he was someone younger,
Right.
then
yeah.
that would still be like, hey, yeah,
Then it
fine,
wouldn't
but he
have the
can.
same- Yeah.
He has time to grow a thicker skin, and he can move forward from that. But also maybe because of his baby face, he also really sells those moments, like that moment when in the elevator where there is a guy who badmouths someone, and he's the owner of the station, I think, right? The TV station where, so he is in, I think it's a company he owns, I'm not sure. There
I
is
just remembered the moment.
Okay.
So Yoon Kyun-sang overhears one guy being really rude and cruel to what's the name, Kim Yoo-jung, and
Yeah.
like he himself has not been that nice to her in their encounters, but like you can see that he feels something in that moment. So then when he's alone in the elevator with the jerky guy later, he has this little habit of like spraying disinfectant all the time, like in like facial mists, face mist canisters. So he has them, but they're like disinfectants. So he starts sort of really passive aggressively doing it, like ostensibly on himself, but he fills the entire elevator. When he comes out, he just leaves that guy like
In a cloud of like sanitizer mist.
so. It's like
Yeah.
it's a sort of indirect punishment, and yeah, that was a really great scene. So like with the whole germaphobe thing, I kind of am not. I think it should come with a trigger warning for anyone with OCD. So just putting that out there, because I'm watching this and I'm feeling like there are points when I feel like I have to turn away because it's too triggering, and like some of these actions are too familiar. So anyone with OCD, just be careful if you get triggered by that kind of thing. Maybe don't watch it or fast forward. He doesn't touch things except with handkerchiefs and lots of antiseptics, and he doesn't sit down in places, and he certainly doesn't go on public transport. So he has lots of tiny little, it's very, I think, well done and true to life, but it is something that you should keep in mind if you have a problem with that.
So the way they are portraying his germaphobe thing, I kind of like it. There are different ways of doing it. There was this webtoon that I read, which was turned into a Japanese drama, which I cannot recall right now. I will uh, write the name down in the description if you guys want to look it up. Where there is this germaphobe guy, and he is a writer, so he just kind of secludes himself in his room, and everything is to his liking. Everything is super clean, and he's not just a germaphobe. He also has OCD, like major OCD. So just every single thing is the way he likes it, and he does not want anybody coming into his apartment, and he's super super secluded. But that is not the direction they went with Jang Sung Yul. He has a company to manage. He has to interact with people every day, and it's not a secret that he's a germaphobe. People around him accommodate him, and um, maybe at the end of this drama he'll be cured. Though I don't know why this requires being cured. But anyway, there are people who are germaphobes their entire life, and they have perfectly happy, fulfilled lives. I mean, K dramas, can you please just leave a person their flaws and not have to cure everything? Wait, I'm actually that's a digression to a drama we're going to discuss later. But my the thing is that I like that they didn't go that route. He's not a very social person, but he's social enough. For instance, he's looking for someone to date, but then he gets set up with a woman, and the things that he notes about her are how neat she is, how neatly her nails are clipped, and how she presents herself. And then he notices earwax. And he's
To be
like,
fair, that's pretty rank.
it was. But I cannot imagine anybody having earwax like that. If you just take daily baths, you cannot have earwax like that. So yeah. Okay, so that's where we are with Clean with Passion for now. We like it. We think it might be an entertaining watch, and as with the ones before this one, we'll update you. Okay, the next one we want to talk about is Red Moon Blue Sun. Saya, you watched that one, right?
Right, also called Children of Nobody. I think that's its official title.
Mm-hmm.
My kind of overarching is I only aired 4 episodes at this time, so my overarching feeling on this is I actually have no idea what's going on, but it's totally gripping, and it's really eerie. So this is from the same writer as Achiara Secret Village, I think that's what it was called, which was like a year or two ago. And that was a horror, if I remember rightly. So now, if I had known this was going to be sort of in the vein of horror, I certainly would not have begun it. I actually don't even know why I started it, because this is none of the dramas that I started in this cycle were the ones that I intended to watch. So you've got Kim Sona, who this is the first time I'm watching her literally since Kim Samson. I haven't seen her in anything since. And she works as a children's therapist, and basically living the perfect life, expecting her second child, and then suddenly one day she's involved in an accident where she kills a child, and then everything goes crazy. It's really hard to separate what is happening in this that is real and what isn't, because she constantly keeps seeing this little girl in a green dress, but we don't know what that means. Is it a ghost? Is it a figment of her imagination? Who is the girl in the green dress? And this is what haunts her as well. And so at the same time, you've got a series of deaths that happen that appear to be innocuous, but then they have these weird irregularities, and the detective character is Lee Kyung, who was most recently, I think, in Laughter in Waikiki. This is this his first lead character? It might be, but anyway, he's doing really well as this sort of rugged detective. He's young, but he's really sharp. And so he begins to notice these weird irregularities in cases of criminals or people who've come out of jail, or people just dubious people dying, and then stuff comes up that makes him think it might have been murder. So he goes after this, and he crosses paths with Kim Sona because the people who are the victims of these incidents have some kind of weird crossover that you don't quite understand, but the things they have in common is that there's always a child involved, and at all of these scenes, like, there's a line of poetry, and it's really sort of creepy and haunting. And I think the thing with this show is that everybody is an unreliable narrator. Like, you don't know who's telling the truth. You don't even know if Kim Sona is, like, is she the one doing the stuff? Like, at one point, I was in the middle of one of the recent episodes, and I was like, hold on. What if she's the one who's killing all of these people and she doesn't know it? Like, what if she's, like, in a fugue? Or what if she's got, like, a multiple personality? Or, like, what's happening? I don't know. But yeah, I don't watch it at night. It's really good, though. I totally recommend it. I think it's drawing itself into, like, the main thrust of its story, and it hasn't quite got there yet, but it's getting there. But the tone is really dark, and it's literally dark. Like, it's got this weird blue filter, which is just everything is dark. But yeah, it's good. It's scary. It's really, really interesting and exciting, and watch it. And the other character, who is a junior detective, who is Lee Kyung's detective partner, Nam Kyuri, and she plays this sort of no-nonsense female detective, and she's great as well. So, like, all the characters are really good. But yeah, I don't have any idea who it is. Everyone is creepy. The only person I think it isn't is Lee Kyung and Nam Kyuri, the detectives, but it could be anyone else.
Okay, that actually sounds like pretty good plotting, if you have absolutely no clue.
And I really hope, for Kim Sona's sake, that this is better than that terrible drama that made me so angry a few months ago. Shall we kiss first? Which I had the title for, and then it was like every tragic trope in the book, just one after another, like they were crossing off a list. It was just, yeah, don't watch.
Do you know what? I think you should try this, because this is like, this really is, it showcases everything she can do, and all of the doubt in her character, and the fact that she herself doesn't know what she's doing yet, like the guilt and everything is eating away at her. And it's really okay. So check out at least the first 3 episodes if you're in the mood for something dark, and yeah, if you like it, carry on. If you don't, drop it.
Sounds good.
And then Memories of Alhambra, which I totally wanted to watch but have not been able to this weekend. I intend to in the next week. And Saya, what's the verdict? You watched it?
So yeah, at this point only 1 episode has released, although by now I think the second has literally just released, so I'm gonna watch it after we finish this call. And so this is the latest drama from the writer of W, 9 times travel, however, whatever inflection that goes in, I don't know. I just call it 9. 9 and Queen In Hyun's Man. And this is a show like we've heard so much about for like the last at least a year, and it's fully pre-produced. So we've been getting updates on this in like trickles for months and months, and they've been dropping teasers for like the last month or so, and none of them made any sense. And neither does the first episode, but you know, I mean, it does and it doesn't. It's like it's putting all of its pieces on the board. So there's a mysterious death on a train, which could be murder, and it might not even be a death at all, but there's a disappearance of somebody who looks like they're pretty important, and they disappear. Did I already say that? I did. So they disappear on a train. And you have an augmented reality game, which is like Pokemon Go on steroids, which is set in the amazing backdrop of Granada in Spain. And you have Hyunbin, who heads there after a mysterious phone call, and he holds himself up in a hostel owned by Park Shin-hye, which is kind of a creepy place full of mysteries and secrets, but none of this has come together yet. So I'm not quite sure where the show is going. In the first episode, you have this whole segment of Hyunbin discovering the game. So he has these cool, funky iris computer things which he pops into his eyes like contact lenses. I just call these iris cams because that's what they call them in Artemis Fowl.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. Like anytime I see something that goes in the eye, I'm like iris cam because Artemis Fowl. So yeah, if I say iris cam, that's why. But yeah, they're like contacts. And so while he's wearing these contacts, he can experience the augmented reality world against this backdrop of historical Granada. And yeah, he starts this game in like level 1 where he has to fight this Moorish warrior, which yes indeed we have many reservations about, and let's see what they do with that. I don't want to jump on it right away. I don't
What are
like
you afraid of? What would they do? Like, what are you afraid of with the Moorish warrior?
I think I'm gonna let Anissa take this. She's the expert.
I wouldn't call myself an expert, but yeah, like I mean, even the title and the fact that it's set in Spain and in Alhambra is like,
it's the seat of Islamic Spain.
Yeah, it was an empire for like 800 years,
and then it was wiped from the map.
Basically, yeah, the Inquisition.
Apart from the architecture,
killed everyone and or tortured them.
Yeah.
And now if you go there, the architecture's there, but like the culture's been completely erased.
And the European Renaissance happened because of Islamic civilization in Spain. So
yeah, like they preserved and translated so many like sources that were completely lost to Europe, which was in like the Dark Ages at that time.
Yeah, absolutely. If I remember correctly, like they preserved Greek books. They even preserved like Hindu scriptures.
Whatever scriptures they found, pretty much they translated them. They studied them.
Yeah. So, and then like that there's always these like very sort of Orientalist stereotypes that we always see in like Western portrayals of these places, especially when they bring in these like Moors, quote unquote.
Yeah, and you've got this like sort of big, heavy-set white guy with heavy black coal-lined eyes, and that savage look.
Yeah,
and you're like, it's kind of like, I don't know, what do you call this? Some type of brown face, but yeah, I'm not comfortable with it. But it hasn't done anything. I mean, it's the fact that it exists is a little bit egregious, but where it's gonna go with that, I guess we'll see. So
I guess we'll keep an eye on that. Yeah, the setup of the story.
Well, I'm curious about why they set it in Spain and not in Korea, like augmented reality from a historical just characters and soldiers and warriors of the past. They could have done that in Korea. They have such rich history there, right? So they could have had characters from like Sakyuk characters coming into the modern day world, walking modern day souls. So why didn't they do that? Why did they set it up in Spain?
Well, the obvious real world reason answer to that would be maybe there's money from the funding from the Spanish Tourism Board, or someone in Spain. This is an extremely high budget drama. This is not cheap. This is like flashy as hell. But like it looks, every inch of it is absolutely dripping with money in a good way. And also, it's interesting to, like, if you're in Korea, I guess it's interesting to see other places. And the architecture really is stunning. It's like, why wouldn't you want that if you could afford it?
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, the tourism thing makes complete sense. I mean, I don't know, it's like speculation for us, but it makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
I mean, this is a Netflix drama, by the way. So this is it's an exclusive Netflix drama as well. So there's probably stuff tied in with that as well.
Is it going to be available in real time?
It is right now. I don't know if it is in the US, but it is in the UK. So
no, all I have is the Christmas Prince sequel.
Oh no! Oh, okay. So this is what Netflix US kind of does, isn't it? Is that the rest of us do get, like, it's released right now. Like if I want to watch it right now, I can. But yeah, so Netflix US.
The peculiar thing is, I usually get stuff first, like before the US audience do, which I'm super happy about. Sorry. But I don't see it on my Netflix page, actually. I'm seeing Patriot Act, which I love, but I'm not. This is the first time that's ever happened.
Yeah, I love that show too. But yeah, I also don't see it.
Oh, it's here. Okay,
Yeah, no,
fine.
it should be
I
there.
have access
Yeah,
to it.
yeah, exactly.
I'm so jealous.
I think everyone outside of
Date.
the US can see it in real time, but it might be that thing that they do with you guys in the States is that they'll let you watch it like when
Yeah, and I mean this happened with Forest of Secrets too, where it completed
yeah.
airing and then it dropped all in one season. And this is the director of Forest of Secrets, so who knows?
Yeah.
There's a connection there. But I
think this is
unfortunate.
kind of just like Netflix's model, isn't it? For
I mean, they did
US release.
simultaneously release Mr. Sunshine and also Meteor Garden's new
Oh,
season.
that's a good point.
So I'm not sure what is making them pick and choose. And I did hear
maybe
that
it's-
something else was going to be released simultaneously on Netflix, but I can't remember what it was. But it's something
Maybe
that's
you'll
upcoming.
just have it on a slight delay rather than
Maybe.
a full show.
Let's see what
Like,
happens.
Yeah, I
Okay.
guess we'll find out in a few days.
Yeah, I'll keep you guys updated with that.
But yeah,
Oh,
the other
okay.
thing I wanted to sort of quickly mention is what's really exciting about this writer Song Ji-jung is that like if you look at her past works, is that they always do something different. She's always sort of pushing K-drama land to new frontiers, and this is like even if they don't always end well, and we kind of have to admit that they
With
don't
W.
always end well. They always have this really interesting world building that is utterly new that no drama has done before it.
It's just
So-
that
Pushes your
sometimes it
imagination.
can't sustain that structure and it sort of collapses
Yeah,
on
I
itself.
think part of it is that they don't necessarily like they can't pick which line of the show to follow, and they can't sustain both of them at the same time because all of these have like a backbone of romance,
Yeah.
and I think they tend to go for the romance, and then they end up dropping the sort of
At
the
the
world.
expense of
Yeah,
the
exactly.
world building.
So like what you've got with this show as well is that I can't quite tell where the story is going right now. I mean, it's only been one episode, so I don't know whether the story is going to head into the world of the game or whether it's going to be like sort of the real world problems of having to acquire this game, because Hyunbin's character right now is at this point where he's discovered the game and he's desperate to acquire it, and the one person that he can acquire it from is the one person he's just offended like in a super terrible way. And so there are a lot of people after this game and dangerous bad people, so whether it's going to follow the route of that or whether it's going to have like some concurrent thing where the game itself provides story for the drama the way like W does, and like a fictional world giving you stuff. Yeah, I guess that will reveal itself with time,
Yeah.
but it's exciting.
Cool.
And I'm not even a gamer, and I actually don't really understand games. So I watch, like, my brother is a gamer. I have a couple of close friends who are gamers, and I'm like, I don't understand why you game. I don't understand
Because
how
there's a
gaming is
story behind
storytelling.
it. There's always a
But
story.
like it's like everyone says that, and I'm like, I don't see it. I don't see how gaming is storytelling. And let's not go into that now because a lot of people have tried to explain it to me, and I'm just still like, I don't get it. But yeah, but I find it exciting. And like I say, I'm not even a gamer, and he was like, there were these sequences of him trying to level up in this game, and it's actually really exciting. I'm like, cool, wow. And then when it came to the real world, I was like, oh, this isn't that. I kind of want to go back to the game.
That's how the addiction starts.
I hope not. I have enough.
Right. Okay, so our next one is
We are on to our completed list now.
yes. We're moving on to our list of completed shows.
Okay, so it's Where Stars Land, and on Twitter, we kind of already talked about a little about what the first few episodes did to Chae Soo-bin's character, which is that they set her up as someone who is really flawed and kind of like a heroine that you wouldn't like. But then they kind of, I don't know, lobotomized her character, and then I erased her past offenses and just gave her excuses for all her behavior, and then now she's the perfect, the usual interchangeable drama heroine.
Yep.
Or not quite, because Chae Soo-bin, of course, infuses this quality into all of her characters that make them endearing for their own sake. So I wouldn't write the character off completely. I enjoyed her character here. I just thought that she didn't have enough to do, and that she could have had a lot more to do if she had if they had preserved the initial line of character exploration.
Borma, you finished the show, right?
I have finished the show, yeah.
And Anissa, are you planning to finish it?
I was, but I'm willing to be spoiled for the ending so that we can. There are things that made me stop watching that makes me not likely to go back and finish it. So
before you guys go into spoiler territory, there's just one or two things I want to say, and then I will sort of bow out of this until you're done with the spoilers.
Okay.
So the thing that we didn't really see in the earlier episodes that in the last time that we recorded was Lee Jae-hoon's character, because we had such a focus on Cheswon's character up until that point, and it had moved focus to Lee Jae-hoon. But the thing that and I'm at like episode 17-18 right now, which is I think just about is it just past halfway through?
It's about
how long is this? About halfway through. So he's at this point where he's sort of confined to the house, and he's had a lot of problems with his what's it called?
Prosthetics?
Yeah, well, are they prosthetics or are they like
augmented arms?
Yeah,
the drama calls them support devices.
Oh, okay, support devices. So the thing that I keep feeling is a missed opportunity so far is that they don't seem to deal with the fact of him being disabled, just the fact of him hating his disability. And it's like I get that the character has to go through that, but I want them to deal with actually him accepting that he is disabled and that he can live with disability, and that doesn't make him less of a person. And that's something like I feel like I don't think we've ever had a drama that centers around disability and accepting yourself. And I don't know how much I want to be spoiled. I mean, I don't want to be spoiled at all. So I'm just putting that out there. I want the drama to deal with this, and now you can spoil to your heart's content because I'm going to take my headphones off.
Okay. And for those of our listeners who don't want to be spoiled about the ending of this drama, I'll put in the timestamps. Like if you just look in the descriptions below, you'll find the timestamps. Like it'll tell you exactly how much to skip if you want to skip the spoiler part. Okay. So about what Saya said about them dealing with the disability part, did they? Do you want to know, Anissa?
Yes. Give it to me. I'm ready.
Yeah, they did not. Any opportunity they had, like for every opportunity they had, it's almost they deliberately missed. There is this beautifully poignant moment. I think it was about halfway through. I think Sam might have seen that scene where this guy, Lee Jae-hoon's character, has so much insecurity because he spent 11 years in a wheelchair, confined to a wheelchair, being pitied by everyone around him. And by the way, in this time, he's put himself through college and he lives alone because his mom's gone off somewhere else. Like she's married someone and gone off to America. A lot of moms seem to get married and go off to America, but like in drama land. But so it's not like he's not living an active normal life. He is, but he hates his disability. So to tell us why he hates it that much, we should have been given a glimpse of what he deals with on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, we're never given that. We are never given that. There is this one moment where we all know by this time that Lee Jae-hoon's character thinks that he cannot have a normal relationship if he's like confined to a wheelchair. But then there is this moment when he is at this open air restaurant and there is this man in a wheelchair with his girlfriend, and I think they're feeding each other food or something. They're being really cute together, and it's a very fleeting moment. He just looks at them. And it's like and Lee Jae-hoon is a really good actor, of course. So you can almost see the thought crossing his mind that maybe I can have a normal relationship even if I did not have these support devices. So because the support devices become a cause of concern later on, they are actively hurting him, they're harming him. But he refuses to take them off because he thinks that he'll go back to being on a wheelchair and he would rather die than go back to a wheelchair. So he clearly feels really strongly about his disability. And now a person who has lived 11 years in a wheelchair and he's still not been able to accept that, there must be a lot of trauma piled on top of traumas, but this drama refuses to deal with any of it. We're not given anything. Like, all the stuff that I'm saying is stuff I'm assuming because I've read a bit about these disabled people. I don't think the drama writers were informed enough to deal with this subject. There is so much ableism in this drama, it's insane. The ending was the worst possible thing.
No, I mean, I watched until episode 26, which is like 13, because it's, you know, double the numbers. But it's like at that point where he's just basically like dating her with, and he's like told her about his support devices, but he still kind of like refuses to take them off, and he's like giving himself a month. And so then like that's where I watched it till, and I kind of was like too angry to continue in a way. And I also was just like, I just didn't want to, I could kind of see where it was going, and I was just like kind of done. So I want you to just tell me like how it ends and whether it ends up going down that path.
So, as Saya said, this drama practically obtusely refuses to deal with his disability. Like, that moment when he reveals himself, he says that this is the real me, and that is not the real him in terms, like, yes, that is the real him. She had never seen his devices, but also the real him is also the one who has to take those devices off at night, right? I mean, the
Yeah.
one who has to put it up on the shelf and then go to bed, that's also him. And he never introduces that side of him to her. Then there is this scene where he kind of like, he takes off his support devices, he's on a wheelchair, he goes to the Han River because he's supposed to meet Chesumin there, that's supposed to be their date, and it's like he takes a brave step, right?
Yeah.
The
I mean, I saw
writers
that part. That made me hopeful, but then after that, you know, like,
exactly, and then the writer decided, no, Chisuin does not need to meet this version of her love interest. They gave this, they just ruined that moment with this dramatic incident where Chisuin gets hurt. Lee Jae-hoon is trying to get to her, but his phone kind of flies off his hand, and then he can't get a taxi, and all of this stuff convinces him that if he's on a wheelchair he can't protect her. He wouldn't have been able to protect her anyway because he was in another part of the city when she got accidentally stabbed. But anyway, so
yeah.
that cannot be your driving reason for why the protagonist refuses to take off his devices even though they are killing him. That cannot be the reason. The reason has to be those 11 years and what has happened there. You had to show us at least a few of those smaller day-to-day things that an able-bodied person would not notice, but a disabled person really would. For instance, like this thing that we had this conversation just earlier this year about straws. Like, getting rid of straws does not seem like a bad thing. Yeah, they are wasteful plastic. But then when some people said that, what about us? Like, someone spoke up on the internet. They were like, what about disabled people and how much they need to use straws? You should at least have that as an option.
Yeah.
It didn't occur to most of us. Now we can take that conversation further and we can talk about alternatives. That's a different conversation, but I'm saying for most of us it would not have occurred to us that those straws that we think are wasteful are actually useful to some people. It's something we wouldn't notice. I would not notice many things that a disabled person goes through, and of course the drama just ignores that aspect of his life completely, doesn't give us anything. And of course the ending was just horrible. She tells him to live, and he's like, fine, I'll take off my devices, and then he does, and then cut to a year later and he's left the country and not been in touch with her at all. I thought the moment he took off the devices that she would be beside him while he recovers his health. I thought that would be their bonding, the final reassurance that he needs, that he can have a relationship even if he doesn't have his support devices, his prosthetics. If they had given us that, I would not be so mad at the ending, but they didn't. They just cut to a year later where he returns perfectly cured and again wearing those devices, and so therefore Chisumin never has to deal with the disabled version of her boyfriend.
That is so, you know what's even worse than like the fact that they don't show his daily struggles and what it must have been like for him, and like humanizing his struggle in that way. Like, they should have done that, and it's bad that they didn't do that. But what I find is even more upsetting and like offensive, like it's actually offensive to me that like when he tries to show his real self or like his self without those extra supports in the wheelchair. And like the drama writers basically like, no, you don't get to have that. Here's me like literally throwing you off your wheelchair onto the ground, and like you're like lying there helpless and no one is going to help you and you're just going to be miserable. Like it's so, the more I think about it, the angrier I get, honestly. Like it's like they're saying like that person doesn't deserve to have love unless they actually like look normal, whatever normal means, and like have like 4 fully functioning limbs. And
And of course, as a ridiculous metaphor, the guy just isn't just normal, he is super normal.
He's
what do you call him?
superhuman.
Yeah, and this is a trope that's often used in fantasy, where you have a disability, but then it's not just cured, but you get an extra special power. This happens pretty often. If you read sci-fi, you would be familiar with this trope,
or like comics.
Comics, yeah, absolutely. So it's I get where this trope comes from, but this is also a sign of a really, I don't know the writer's past works, and I don't even want to look it up at this point. But this just stinks of really amateurish writing, and I am so disappointed in this writing, because there were threads that could have been followed through to really satisfying conclusions, and the writer just refused to do it.
You know what this makes me think of? This is like the happy in quotes ending version of, have you heard of the movie Me Before You?
Yeah, actually I have.
Without spoiling that movie, listeners, you can go and spoil that movie for yourself if you want. I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but it's like, it's trash. And it has the same message that like,
the one with Emily Clark in it.
Yeah, it's like basically the same message of like, if your legs and arms don't work, you don't deserve love, but it's like with a horrible, like very sad, tragic ending. So, and that was like, people with disabilities were so angry about that movie. Like they were extremely upset. Because it's like, you never get stories about people like this. You know, it's like what Saya was saying, like we never see a depiction of a main character with some kind of disability. And so then if you end up making that one story that people get be one that says, well, actually, we don't accept you the way you are unless you're able to like, you know, camouflage yourself in a way that's acceptable to the rest of us, and you're not disturbing us with your like strange and upsetting appearance. Like that's basically what you're saying with a show like this. So anyway. Yeah, sorry, it's a little bit personal for me as well, which is why I got emotional. But should we?
Yeah, this drama sure pushed our buttons. Yeah, let's call Sai back in. So now that we have you back, I wanted to talk about some of the things that we liked about this drama that kind of made us watch to the end of it. And one of the primary things is the secondary love interest, like not the love interest. I'm sorry,
the security couple.
The security couple. Oh my god.
Odegi and Yayamdu. I love them so much. They're so cute.
Their entire arc was so nice. Their conflict was so like it was actually really well written, and I loved the way the actors dealt with it. Their awkwardness together, just everything was perfect. I would have enjoyed seeing a little more development on Nyanju's character, just to find out why she is the way she is. But I'm okay even if there isn't too much explanation, because
some people are just naturally inflexible.
Exactly. So I liked it, and I also liked the way they developed her friendship with Chesumin's character. And it just it was sweet, and that's all I wanted from that. And that worked out. The other thing that I really enjoyed was some of the airport stories. I liked how much they showed us about the details of running an airport. I'm sure like all of it was not true to life. Like they could not have crisis like that and with the same department dealing with, I don't know,
every 30 minutes.
Pretty much. But overall, and one of my favorite things was the way they dealt with the whole you know how have you guys reached that episode where they have the fog come in? No, I don't think either of you have.
I got to like the beginning of, I got to the end of the episode where like the fog was just coming in, and then
right. So they have this entire episode where it's not like something major happens, but just the small things that you have to do to make sure the airport keeps running. And I loved those. I loved those moments. Those were my favorite moments of watching this drama.
I really liked that story, although I mean it was pretty cheesy and kind of you could say that maybe it was unrealistic, but the story about like the man who didn't have papers, like he was undocumented from the Philippines.
Oh yeah, and he
his
wanted to
wife was
see
about
his
to give
baby.
birth, yeah, and how they like made that happen by fudging the rules a little bit. I thought
Yeah,
that
it was sweet.
it was sweet, yeah. I cried a little.
I
The
do feel
only
like they took
trouble
the long
is,
way around to get an answer for that. It's like it could have like they could have just had the mother come to like they could have brought her inside to meet him rather than have it turn
But then
into
you wouldn't have like the running around and the walkie-talkies.
I know, but it felt a
Like,
little like yeah, like taking the long way around for no reason. Like it was easier than they made it. But I also felt like it didn't quite no, okay, it did answer the whole you can't actually bend the rules for anybody because like, you know, if you make one exception then like the whole system falls apart.
yeah.
There's
yeah,
a reason why the system is in place.
But I mean, there's a reason why the system is in place, but also kind of points out the
immigration isn't kind. That's true.
the
But you
harshness
can't bend the
of
rules.
yeah,
Yeah,
all
like
the
the
way
staff
that borders
themselves have
and all
no
of that
ability
work.
to make those judgment calls.
Yeah,
So yeah, immigration. Maybe we need a whole drama about that.
right.
yeah. Give it about 20, 30 years when we can actually look back into this period and be like, hey,
And see
it's
how insane we
been-
are, and also Brexit.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so the next one is TERIUS Behind Me, which I have not finished watching, but I actually have just watched the first 4 episodes. What about you guys?
I finished.
Yeah, I finished it too. So I think we talked about it a lot on the previous Yak, but it remained pretty much the same for me. Like very, very heartwarming with really nice like ensemble cast and like great relationships between like the leads and the kids and the neighbors, the KIS, like the neighborhood intelligence agency of between the moms, the Juma network, and then like the spy stuff remained very light and kind of toothless and fun, and you know, and that wasn't the main focus, so that was fine. And I think they did a good job of like raising the stakes a little bit in the last couple of episodes in a way that like made us worry for characters that we cared about, and then they kind of like wrapped it up really nicely. So yeah, it was a satisfying watch. It was fluffy, it was stress-free, it was cute. I enjoyed
Yeah, I
it.
mean its peril quotient was very low.
Yeah.
Even at the end, like I didn't genuinely believe anyone was gonna die, and also, like you know when they triggered the death protocol, it was like it was too easy when you found out what really happened. It was like way too easy. But yeah, this was like low key. I think is the way to sort of the one word encapsulation of the whole drama is very low key. It wasn't that deep, so it made it very easy to watch week to week.
Yeah.
And it was always the drama that I just watched first. Like I didn't need to like with other dramas. You kind of need to like mentally prepare yourself before you can watch them. With this one, you could just watch it, and yeah, I'm not even gonna ask if I'm the only person who does that. But yeah, it was very pleasant. But I do feel like I wasn't dissatisfied by the ending, but I did feel like there was something missing because like it had changed its tone from being this drama about a single mother who kind of finds herself doing spy work somehow by accident into like it just threw the kids out of the story, and that was it was a little bit jarring because I wasn't sure how to fit that with the character that I'd known up to that point, which you know like when you're a mother you have these like dominating thoughts, things like you don't put yourself in danger because you need to not die for your kids because your kids are so young they still need you, and that's like it's the thing that dominates the way you live your life. But I also like I liked that Jung Sun's character got the chance to become someone else on her own, you know, by her own choices. Like she got to find meaning in her life that wasn't just wrapped up in the kids. And like we were talking about earlier about how she had created this, she was part of this very strong support network that allowed her to do those things.
Yeah. And I mean, it was a little, the drama in general, the writing was a little bit out of sight, out of mind with certain things. Like when something was not really pertinent to the plot, it would just kind of disappear. Or, you know, like what they did with their husband in the beginning, where he was just basically like there to be gotten rid of in order to set up her relationship with Soji Sub, which was kind of like, they didn't really show her mourning for him.
Like,
they didn't really show the kids mourning for him. So that was something that kind of bothered me throughout the whole drama.
And it's like they wanted you to forget, so you're like, okay, I'll put that thought aside. But it didn't deal with it. It was very pat in the way that it presented itself, which is not. I don't know if that's a criticism, but it's like a little less perfect would have been maybe better. Would have made for a more memorable drama. Like, as much as I enjoyed it, after I finished it, you know, it's just it out of my mind too. So like out of mind for the drama for me.
Agreed. Yeah.
But it was fun. It was a good watch.
Yeah.
But it doesn't stay with me afterwards, and I probably wouldn't watch it again.
Same. I'm gonna quickly just talk about Familiar Wife because I finished it. Like I had talked about the first half, and then I finished it. Like, and I forgot to mention in the last Long Yak, but I just wanted to say, like, it was like a good character drama. It was a really great like ensemble with like at the office because they were working together, and like the bank employees were really lovely, and I liked how the first half was kind of focused on Ji-sung's story, and the second half was about his wife, who he like time travels in time to like not marry her, and then he falls in love with her again. But it kind of switched to her perspective, which was really great, and I liked how they wrapped it up. There were some things that were kind of weird, but in general, I thought it was like a really satisfying do-over relationship time travel drama that like, I mean, the leads were really good. Han Ji-min was wonderful. Like, I really liked her. It's like my favorite performance from her. So yeah, I would recommend. That's my thoughts on Familiar Wife.
How long was that? 16 episodes?
16, yeah.
Okay. I haven't quite decided yet if I do want to watch it, but
I enjoyed it.
I think I'll give the first few episodes a shot.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the next thing. Beauty Inside.
Okay.
Who watched this one?
I watched this one. Ooh, I didn't even put my name by it, but yeah, I watched this. Okay, and I told you guys how much I enjoyed the initial episodes. Like, I had some doubts, but they kind of like evaporated. I liked it. I really like this drama. It had its flaws. I wouldn't say it's perfect. There are certainly things that I can complain about, but you know what? For a change, I won't complain about it because I generally like the characters a lot. They were just good people, and I enjoyed the friendship between the characters a lot, and the story really focused on friends. One of the things that characterized Eamon Key's character here, Seodoje, is that he didn't have friends, mostly because, of course, he couldn't recognize faces. So he had like he just limited himself to the people he knew and the daily stuff that he saw in his office. So it's just difficult for him to have friends. But on the other hand, Hanseke, who had this magical transformation thing happening to her every month, was surrounded by her friends who were this concrete support system for her. Like, anytime she was in trouble, one of her friends was there to help her out. So it's the I like that contrast between them, like that was so stark initially, started feeding as her friends sort of like took him into their fold, and then he became one of the tribe. And then even when, things happen, like their relationship evolves, there are misunderstandings, and they're apart for a while. Her friends don't abandon Sodoje. He's still, their friend as well. So there are these things that I really liked about the drama. The magical aspect of it stays pretty low key. Other than how inconvenient it is for her, I think it seemed to be mostly a metaphor for her, how she wanted to be known for herself. Like, she wanted someone to love her for herself and not for her outer appearance. And Sodoji turned out to be that person. So that seems to be what that whole magical realism thing was trying to get at, and I guess they got it. It's not I won't spoil anything, but the magic and its rules are not exactly super important to the ultimate telling of the story. They could have told pretty much the entire story without that whole magical aspect of it, I think. But there is, again, like we have talked about before, this ableism thing, which Sotaji is a man with a disability, and he's in love with a woman who accepts him for his disability. She has a relationship, and by the way, once they get into the relationship, this is one of those dramas where you see a really strong pair, and they are in a relationship, I think, within the first 6-7 episodes.
Mhm.
And for like the better half of like the larger chunk of the drama, they're actually already in a committed relationship. So it's really great when they're dealing with like bickering relatives and jealous sisters and all of that stuff. They're doing it as, you know, a unit together. So it's really enjoyable to watch, and just the chemistry between them is like fireworks. But then you come down to, I genuinely thought that they were just going to, and this is a bit of a spoiler, so tell me if you guys want to know about it, or should I? Because for
Yeah,
twist or
as long as it's
anything,
not a huge twist or something, that's fine.
no, it's not a huge twist. It's to do with his disability and
Okay.
how Korean drama just pretty much refuses to let a disabled man stay disabled, because, you know,
Okay.
how can a hero just,
Please
I
don't
don't
tell
know.
me that she cures him.
No, that doesn't
How do you
happen.
cure face blindness?
I don't know, but I wouldn't put it past a TV show.
The TV show manages to do it. She doesn't cure, but the yeah. But this is
What?
exactly like this is like
No!
a theme of this podcast. Like with the how we were talking about the germs thing, right? Like I was talking about that webtoon where you have this a character with an OCD, or you have this character who's a germaphobe, you have this character with a disability, but by the end of the drama you can guarantee that the hero, if it's the hero, will no longer have that. He would be cured by some means or the other. And the
No.
way Sodoji gets cured is particularly problematic because he it results out of Hanseke's unwitting selfishness. Like, she doesn't intend for it to happen, but he makes a choice, which is okay. I can't say more than that. It just my entire point is that if you guys do watch it, please notice the fact that this is a drama trope that K dramas will not let you, because they would have had a perfectly normal, loving relationship even if he never got cured. This was a strong relationship. You saw that. The drama gave us that. They gave us, I think, about 6, 7, or 8 episodes of these two being an amazing couple.
Because this is the ableist mindset that disability is a flaw. And
Exactly.
And it
therefore
has to be
can
fixed.
done somehow. Yeah, exactly.
The reason he gets fixed, or he decides he makes a certain choice, is a reason I can understand. The story does a good enough job of explaining to you why otherwise the relationship might not have progressed further. And the plot did not have to go there. Is all I'm trying to say. They had to really reach to find this reason.
No, and like why it's a choice, it's a writing choice, right? Like even if they manage
Exactly.
to explain why in a way that like makes sense or mostly makes sense, it's them deciding, oh, we need this story to go in this particular direction and we're going to justify it. And like what you were
Precisely.
saying about if it's the hero, like it's always the hero. Like
Pretty much.
K-dramas are not even willing to let their heroines be fat. They're
Yeah,
never going to let
absolutely.
them have a disability. You know, like even if she start this relates to one of the upcoming dramas, so I'll just like save my rant about that. But like it's just really
And because it seems like it is the theme of this month's Long Yak, for instance, in the last Empress, Chejin Hyuk, right? Yeah, Chejin Hyuk's his original overweight self is seen as a disability. I mean, if you look at it from this, he will not be allowed to be a main lead if he is overweight.
right.
It's unpalatable to have a hero who is not, cut or like perfect, or, you can't have a hero who's less than perfect in every possible way. Which is actually, the thing is, I like Chijinyuk, okay, so it's nothing against Chijinyuk, but Tehango is perfectly capable of carrying that role without changing. He does not need to be different. And it's like the method that they employed to transition from him to Chijinyuk is hilarious. Like, he had a haircut, okay?
What?
Like, I mean, okay, so like he dragged a few logs through the forest as well, and he went running and stuff for a bit for an unspecified period of time. But it's like, okay, this was the method that they chose to show that transition, and it's like I thought there was gonna be like extreme plastic surgery. Okay, I mean, are they even the same height? And I just like, it's why I okay, and also, but the other thing at the same time is like those actors, the sort of the unpretty actors, wouldn't get roles like that if they didn't accept these. It's kind of the
Yeah.
predicament that we see perhaps in sort of like in Western entertainment is like non-white roles, I
Yeah.
guess,
You have to take those like problematic ethnic
because otherwise you
stereotype
wouldn't
roles.
be on
Or
the
you
screen
want,
at all.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
If you want to eat and if you want to work.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, maybe hope that the representation gets better. But it's like, yeah, man, I want a drama for once to pick an actor or actress like that and just stick with them for the role. Like, put your faith in them; they can carry this role.
Spoiler alert, it's not happening in December 2018.
But maybe January 2019, maybe.
Let's pray.
Oh, there's one more thing I wanted to add to that point that P was just making a minute ago about flawed hero and being cured and stuff. Is that it makes me appreciate I'm Not a Robot all the more, because Yusune's character in that was not cured,
Yeah.
and that was such like an unusual destiny for a character like that, and it was very clear that he wasn't cured, and they actually made an open like it was openly acknowledged, like, to the character explicitly in the show. You are going to have to learn to live with your condition and embrace it as a friend. And like, the fact that they actually dealt with that really directly in a way that, like, they dealt with the fact that it wasn't going to be cured, and they dealt with the fact that it was going to be with him his whole life. He would have good days and he would have bad days, and he would have, it was all there. It was such a great package. Still, it's December 2018. That drama, like, I think it was actually a full year ago it premiered, and
Yeah.
for me that's still the best drama of the year.
That's a really good point. Yeah. So the smile has left your eyes, Parma. What did you think about this?
I am really drawn to a moral characters in any story, if especially one that's written as well as Soyeon-gok's character in this one, because you at every point you knew why, like, even when he was doing inexplicable, almost impulsively destructive things, you knew there's a reason behind why he is like that, and when the reason is revealed, you understand it. So I like this despite okay, we don't want to spoil this drama for anyone, because this drama, while this is very much a character study, you go in there to watch these actors portray these characters. You want to watch them on your screen, and you want to see them live their daily lives and interact and just I don't know, go through emotions, and you go through the emotions with them. This is one of those dramas that's less plot heavy and more character driven. But on the other hand, there are certain things that are very much dependent on certain twists, certain secrets. So you can't actually talk about this drama in a lot of depth. Maybe at some point we can do a special on this. We can just review this and contrast it with the Japanese one, which Anisa's watched and I haven't, and hopefully I will pretty soon. I kind of want to at this right now.
I would like to do that. Yeah, I'm also only on episode 6 of this, but I want to finish it and kind of talk about it with you. But we can do that in a separate episode.
I think that would be the best, because I don't think I can talk about this much without spoiling, and I want a proper spoiler-filled episode to discuss this. I don't think I liked it. I really like this drama, and even though usually I avoid dark things, I'm kind of glad I didn't avoid this drama. I watched it till the end. I couldn't stop, even when I knew that certain things were gonna happen. I kept watching, even though I probably, with any other drama with any other cast of characters, I would have aborted. So that's where I am.
Yeah, I've only watched 6 of the episodes, but I really liked it so far. Even though I told myself that I can't go through this experience again, I ended up watching it anyway. So that really tells you how compelling the story is, and I think they did a really good job of replicating that, even if it wasn't exactly the same, but they replicated that feeling of like thrill and like you can't stop watching, even though you feel like you're like it's a train that's about to crash, but like you can't get off kind of feeling.
Yeah.
So yeah, I also I liked the Japanese one and I liked what I've seen of this one.
The way Seo Yeon-go gives off that whole vibe of being I don't know, insanely charming,
He is
but at the
so
same time,
good.
kind of sort of an unstable genius.
He is so good. Oh my gosh. He can do anything
Yeah.
at this point.
Oh my God, yes, he can. He's taken over my heart completely. There's nothing. I finished this and instantly went back to watch Reply 1997, and then having watched that I think for the 7th time now. I
Wow.
decided, well, yeah, I was kind of insane for that. And I was like, wait, what? Which drama office have I not watched? And that was High School King of Savvy. So
You
yeah, I
haven't
just
seen that? Oh my god, I love that one. It's so
I have to
good.
admit though, it's the heroine who put me off. Like I had started watching this like a year back, and in the first episode she was so
She really takes
candy.
them getting used to, but
Oh.
at the same time, like I can appreciate how far they went in making her that weird and like taking that risk with the heroine. Like I can appreciate that.
Okay,
So.
yeah, I'm gonna stick with it simply because I have to see. Because both you and Saya have talked about how much you guys love this drama, so I have to watch. And also, Seon-gook, when is this guy gonna just do a straight off romance? Like, can he please do like and I of course recently just finished watching Shopping King Louis, which I hadn't finished. I had watched like halfway and then I couldn't. So of course I went back and watched the remaining of that. So basically everything.
Should we tell Saya to come back? Are we done?
Oh yeah, I think we're done with the spoiler.
Hi.
Hi. I was just talking about how I was revisiting all of Seo Yeon-gok's Oeuvre. What is it called? Oeuvre, right?
Yeah. Perfect.
And I had not watched High School King of Savvy, so that's what I'm watching now. Yeah. Okay.
I thought you had watched that.
I hadn't. I watched like the first episode and the heroine was so annoying I gave it up. But now that I'm completely head over heels in love with Seo Yeon-gok, I just can't stop watching everything.
What, you already head over heels for him about 3 years ago?
I was, dude, but I just every time I watch him in a new drama, I fall in love with him again.
He just has that quality, yeah.
You're a loyal fan.
Also, because in this particular drama, he's just
leaves you speechless.
In High School King of Savvy?
No,
million stars.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he is. Yeah, it's a very you know how we were talking about Yoon Kyun-sang and how he's like very blank and he's very generic and the only thing that sticks out about him is that he's tall. In that role, anyone could play it, but with Seon-gook, it's like everything he does, he kind of
only he can do it,
and he makes it unforgettable. Yeah, and he does it so unforgettably that you can't imagine anyone else doing it. And I feel like we can talk about how much we love Seon-gook for like the rest of time. So upcoming dramas. So I made a list of December dramas, but a lot of those have already aired their first episode because they were airing on December 1st. We talked about Memories of Alhambra, so I'll just leave that. The other ones that are airing on December 1st, there's Fates and Furies. It's starring Lee Bin-jung and Ju Sang-wook, and like it sounds like a very mukjang kind of.
This is like a standard weekend drama.
It is, and the only reason that I brought it up is because it's their drama reunion. They were the leads of Cunning Single Lady, also known as Sly and Single Again, and they're starring as leads again in this. And I mean, they had good chemistry together, so I just wanted to give that a shout out.
So that was very different.
But this is like there's like attempted suicide and parents who've passed away and
reading the
poverty. Yeah, it's very
yeah.
So just a fair warning about that, but they are good actors who are cute together. There's one on Channel A, which is like one of the it's not a popular cable drama. It's like very small and they usually make pretty bad dramas. But I'm bringing this up because it's called Coffee Please. And it aired its first episode on December 1st. And it stars Young Jun-young of Beast, now Highlight, He was also in Monstar. But basically the story is he's a webtoon writer. He's popular and handsome, but he's not nice to people, and he doesn't believe in love. And he has a trainee who is cute and chubby, and she's had a crush on him for a long time, but she's never told him about her feelings. And then one day she drinks coffee, and she suddenly finds herself changed into a beautiful woman. It was
Well,
produced
that's an
last
interesting
year.
way.
Yeah, I know. It's very transparent. But, like, what struck me about this, and this is going back to our previous conversation, which has become our theme, is that the actress who plays the original character is Kim Min-young, who, if you've seen Monstar, she was one of the students that was in, you know how, like, they formed this team?
She's been in a whole lot of things. She's quite
Yeah, so these two have, like, they've been in the drama together before. But I really like her in everything. Like, she's such a good actress, and I would like 100% much rather watch her as the heroine than this like skinny version that she turns into, who, I mean, I'm sure she's fine, but she doesn't have the personality that Kim Min-young does. And it's just like that same thing, you know, like with Birth of a Beauty, there was the initial actress who was so good and who's always so good, and she was replaced by Han Sol, who was fine, but she didn't have the same charisma. Like, it just happens so much. So I just wanted to point that out.
You know, but can I just say one thing? Even
Of
though
course.
it won't take long, but the other problem is that if you don't do it that way, then you end up like if you start off with the hot actor, then you just have you uglify them, like you have in like she was pretty or something like that. And I don't like that either. And it's like
No, but my
I don't
thing
know.
is, why can't Kim Min-young be the...
Yeah, why can't she keep the role? No, because do you know what they would do? They would give her a makeover. Like you wouldn't have that story. Like I guess what we want to say is we don't want to see that story anymore.
Yeah.
Of plain girl becomes pretty because like, can we have better stories than this, please?
And also, she is pretty. She just doesn't
Yeah,
fit into that like
exactly.
narrow little like anorexic body standard that everyone pretends is like a normal body that everyone should aspire to. So,
And it's like, more importantly, they have a lot of like you're saying, she has personality. They have a lot of character. Like they bring so much more to the roles than their faces. And
exactly.
sometimes you feel like, no, this isn't always the case with the more quote unquote attractive actors. But like sometimes they can just skate by on their looks. They don't need to work as hard.
Exactly.
And not everyone does that, but there certainly are people who do. And then you have like really talented, good actors who just don't get as much of a chance to show that.
Yeah.
Because the roles don't cater for them.
And then even if there is a role that is catered to somebody who does have that body type, you get something like weightlifting fairy Kimbap Noona, which casts like this super skinny, I mean amazing, but super skinny actress in this role that was actually about someone who was not that skinny in real life. And I mean, I love that drama, but that's always going to kind of bother me.
Yeah, and like Oh My Ghost as well, which you had Kim Sil-gi in, and it's like her entire character got totally shafted by that show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, unfortunately, that's just a trend. So, the next one is Just Dance. Literal title, I think, is Dance Sports Girls. It's on KBS, airing beginning December 3rd. And it's just about a group of girls in high school in like a country, in like a countryside city.
An island. It's a rural island. This is the same island they filmed Hospital Ship on.
Oh, okay.
It's like an industrial
town.
Yeah,
that's right. It is an island. Yeah. So then
they do shipbuilding, I think. So yeah, but it has a really beautiful scenery. So they're like, you can't let the scenery go to waste. So yeah, and also what's exciting about this is you've got Jang Dong-yoon and is it Park Se-won?
Park Se-won, yeah.
Pi from I'm Not a Robot.
Oh, okay.
And also they were in School 2017. The two of them were in that.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm really excited about this drama.
It has a nice cast, and like I'm hoping for shades of like Sassy Go-Go, maybe, perhaps, with the dance competition.
Did you mention that? Did you mention that this one is based on a real story?
It is, isn't it?
Is it?
Yes, it is. The only thing that they have, like, it's like a dramatic rendition, of course, and they have added a boy to the group.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's like the boy that they added is like this elfin, sensitive guy.
Yeah,
So like
exactly.
he's not bringing macho to it. He's like bringing another.
Exactly.
Just yeah.
And
I'm
it
excited.
seems like the plot, at least from the trailers and stuff, it does seem like the plot is mostly focused on the girls' dynamics, and especially the two. There are two main protagonists,
Mm-hmm.
and their dynamics. This is very much like a throwback to Lingerie Generation or something.
Yeah, Girls'
Oh, Girls'
Generation,
Generation.
1979.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, the next one is the one that I know that one of the members of our team is very excited about. It's
Sharon
called
made Empress.
yeah. It's Boksu is Back, or like The Return of Revenge. Also, the English title is My Strange Hero. So
Why
it's
do
got
you give them these weird titles
don't
in English?
know.
What's wrong with
I
the
don't
original
know.
title? Honestly,
But it's got Yoo Sung-ho and Jo-boa, and it's about him when he was a high school student. He was falsely accused of committing violence and kicked out of school, and this was caused by his first love, Sunjus, who is played by Jo-boa, and a male student. And so now he is like an unhappy grown-up, and he wants to get revenge on those two, so he returns to the same high school as a student, which I don't understand, because if he's an adult, aren't they also adults? I don't know. But anyway, he goes back and he's trying to get revenge, and then like things happen and he gets involved in cases.
And of course, the pun on the name is that the Korean word for revenge is boksu, and the
That's right.
character's name is Boksu. So
Yeah.
that's why there's a kind of a return of revenge, or Boksu is back. They can't quite
That's right.
fix on the title. But yeah, I'm excited about this one.
I mean, who wants to say no to more Yoo Sung-ho?
Exactly.
And
Not
Jo-boa is
Saya.
she's really good too. So yeah, this is really all down to execution and writing. Oh, and this is December 10th. So
Soon.
yeah, soon.
Big day.
So yeah, that's what's coming up. And now it's time for the dad joke, which I am responsible for.
I hope it's a good one. Worth the wait.
It's delightfully horrible. Okay,
We would
you
ask
ready?
for nothing less.
Okay, ready?
Ready.
What word starts with E, ends with E, and only has one letter in it?
E?
Envelope.
And we
Wow.
thought we were so smart.
It's pretty good, right?
I think it banks on you to say E.
Yeah, that's what it's expecting.
That was terrible.
Yes.
Well done.
Thank you. All
So
right.
next time you'll grace us with another.
Oh, I will?
Yes.
Okay. Why is it me again? I said I was done.
People are bored of me. We want to hear them from you.
Okay. I will do my best. All right.
Yeah.
That's it. Very long this time.
Yeah. But we completed a lot of the dramas
We did.
we were watching. And now the new season begins. Yeah.
Yeah, and look for some special like end of the year goodies from us like, on Twitter and stuff. So like the December dramas, #December dramas, and some other stuff that we're gonna be coming out with.
Bye guys. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
You could have given us another hour and we'd still have more to talk about. One thing to add about December shows, you might remember that we previewed the Luther remake Bad Detective, also called Less Than Evil, as an upcoming November show. That had its air date pushed to December, so we'll come back with our thoughts about that next month. Or rather, probably I will, since I'm the thriller junkie in these parts. But guys, I can't believe it's already the end of the year. Keep an eye out for some of the fun we've got planned for you, and we'd love to have you guys come and play with us on Twitter. The December Dramas hashtag is really yielding some pretty awesome reviews. Extremely awesome reviews. Why am I being moderate in my praise? But don't worry if you don't feel social. We love you just for listening. As always, you can leave us comments on our YouTube or SoundCloud pages, tweet at us at dramasoverflow, or email us at starsinOurpocket@gmail.com, and you know how much we appreciate a review on iTunes. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. In case you missed us launching it last month, check out our Patreon page if you want to support us. The link is in the description below. To our current patrons, we've said it already, but we really can't thank you enough. Seriously, thank you so much. And that's it for the Long Yak in 2018. Thank you all so much for joining us, for sticking with us, and for talking to us. We hope you have a great holiday season surrounded by good friends and good dramas, and we will see you next year. Bye!